Guys, here to the Brute Nationals. This is Brute and myself have been a partner for 25 years since I graduated from high school or college, in my last year of college, and it's been a partnership that's been a lot of fun, a lot of joy watching them develop some of the best wrestling equipment in the United States. Probably the best. One of the few companies in wrestling that started as wrestling and still the main part of their company is wrestling. So I know that the people I work with at Brute is just 100% devoted to making safe product, making product that we enjoy wrestling in, and obviously product that lasts for a long time. So with that, I got one of my wrestlers that's coming in, and I'll speak a little bit to you, but I really want to show you some skills on your feet. I want to reinforce to you what it takes to really get better. And, you know, it really needs to start on your feet. You got to learn how to take people down. You got to learn how to defend. Riding and getting away, escaping and reversals is probably the easiest part of wrestling, especially at your age. Okay? But learning to take people down and learning to sprawl and score defensively is something that really needs to start developing at this age. You know, once I get you in college, if you don't have some of those skills, I really can't change you in 4 years. Real tough. You know, if you can't move your feet, you can't really pick up your feet, you can't sprawl, you can't do some of those basic fundamental skills, it's really tough trying to get it at 18, 19 years old. Especially when you're wrestling some of the best wrestlers in the country that are in college. So I know that a lot of you, you know, you have high goals and you want to pursue wrestling through college, and I know some of you might even be thinking of going on to the World and Olympics one day. You know, but I will tell you this, that when you get to that level, your success and your failure really depends on how well you move your feet. Okay? It doesn't mean that we don't concentrate on top, we don't learn how to turn, we don't learn how to cradle, we don't learn how to use legs, or on bottom, we don't learn how to come out of legs, we learn how to escape with stand-ups, with switches, with Granby rolls. Those are very important, okay? But I will say this, if you look at how many of you guys watch the NCAA championships? All of you, some of you? Okay. If you look at the 10 matches in the finals and the 10 matches for third and fourth, 18 of those matches were determined by the takedown. Not by riding, not by turning, but by a takedown. The guys that got the takedown are the guys that won the match. Okay? Doesn't mean that they wasn't good riders, doesn't mean that, again, that they didn't work on getting away. Okay? Just means that it's very important. How do you become better on your feet? Learn just simple things of how to move your feet. A lot of times we go in and we start focusing on the high crotch. Okay? But what we don't focus on while we're hitting that high crotch is what am I doing with my feet? Okay? I can drill a high crotch on you, stand up. I can drill 15 high crotches on you, and none of them will equal to what I got to do in competition. So what we always want to develop is when we're practicing our drills or sparring with our partner, okay, the focus has always got to be, what am I doing with my feet? And people are missing this, okay? When I grew up, at the time when I was growing up, all over this nation, that was one of the key, most fundamental things that went on in practices, Little League practices, junior high and high school, was really focusing on learning how to move your feet. And a lot of wrestlers during that time came out, was phenomenal, went all the way up to the highest level of wrestling you can get, Olympic gold medals. And I really, you know, from my career, I really look back on that I had some great youth coaches, some great junior high coaches that forced me to learn how to move my feet. Okay? we must learn how to move our feet. Not just for scoring purposes and taking the guy down, but for defense purposes as well. Learning to pick our feet up, learning to be able to sprawl, learning how to sprawl, get from point A all the way around the guy to point B for a 2-point takedown, 1-point takedown in freestyle. Okay? So it's real important that you understand that as you go through your levels of wrestling and where you're at right now, okay, the higher the level you go, okay, moving your feet becomes more important each level. Okay, and if you can't, now, make sure you understand this. I'm not talking about guys that, you know, when I wrestled, I had a lot of stance and motion, a lot of motion, okay, and I learned how to move my feet through a lot of motion, okay. But I may have a guy standing still, okay, and not using so much motion, but he knows how to move his feet. He knows how to move them to score. He knows how to move them to defend. He knows how to react, okay. He knows how to pick his feet up. So it's not all about how fast you move around the mat, okay. It's a matter of you, when you're broken down in the stance, okay. When you're broken down a stance, can you move your feet? Can you move to a score? Can you move to a defense position? Can you pick your feet up? Okay? And what you need to understand is that most of you right now, I got a lot of young people here, most of you are uncoordinated right now in developing that. Meaning you can't be where I would want you. Just impossible. Okay? But the earlier you work, the earlier you develop those skills, the earlier you build the power in your hamstrings, your quads, okay, your hips, being able to build that strength, and the more you practice it, the more it becomes natural to you, okay? I will say it's a process over about 6 years if you're 10 years old, okay? And that's if you practice it on a daily basis. So I'm just going to show you a few drills here. Albert White, which is one of my wrestlers that wrestled for me, came from Illinois. Junior college national champion. How many times you win state? Four-time state champion out of Illinois. He was coaching at Georgia last year at a junior college, and now he's back at Oklahoma State. All I'm going to do is show you a few things, and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, or open it up to some questions, okay, breakdown. One of the things we really want to focus on, guys, and this is not so fundamental that you don't go over it all the time. Our stance and our motion on our feet, remember this. Everybody pay attention to me. Remember this. You will never perfect this. Okay? And stance, position is everything on your feet. Of whether you're a good offensive wrestler or whether you're a good defensive wrestler or whether you got good offense or whether you got good defense. It all comes from your positioning and how you move your feet. And sometimes we assume as wrestlers that stance and motion is the most basic thing. I know that. We learned that when I was 5 years old. Well, you better keep learning. Okay? And not think it's so simple that I could probably take the majority of you guys right here, put you on a mat and just watch you move and tell you you're a ways away. Okay? And you think you know it. All right? In my career, over my 6 years of winning worlds and Olympics, every day I put 20 minutes into this. Every day. Okay? And the reason most people don't is because it's hard. It's painful. It's hard on my hamstrings. It's hard on my legs. It's hard for me to recover before the next practice. But once you put that time in, all of a sudden you've developed another conditioning level, another strength level that give me 15 minutes and I'm recovered. Rather, if I put you through 20 minutes of this, you couldn't recover before Sunday. Okay? So, stance and motion, just a few key things that you want to remember. One thing about, let's go square stance. One thing about our square stance here is that we always want to focus that our feet are just right outside of our shoulders. Okay? And they never, whenever I move my feet, they never go within that range or outside of that range. Okay? Now, we've seen great wrestlers spread their feet real wide and have a lot of success. Okay, but that's very few. That's not the majority. Okay, rule of thumb is your feet just a little bit. So from here, what we do is we learn to move our feet from here in little circle drills or forward drills. But we're going to I'm just going to have him circle here. And what I want to see is that I want to see that head stay level, and I want to make sure that Albert, okay, is not bouncing around here. His body's not going everywhere. His hands don't drop. All of a sudden, when we start wrestling and we have to move our position, probably for 90% of my guys, our position to get lazy. We'll start reaching, we'll start extending, we'll start doing things that take us out of good solid position. Elbows always in the pocket. When I say the pockets, I have pockets right here in my jeans. Okay, I want them right in the pockets. I want my elbows back. Hands slightly, knees slightly bent, thumbs up, hands slightly curved. Okay? Strong position. I want to look at this guy and I can watch Albert move and I go, this guy's a pretty good wrestler. I don't care if I've ever even seen him wrestle. I can just watch him move and going, this guy's pretty good. Not knowing his record, not knowing who he is, not knowing anything. You can get that from just watching somebody move. Okay, so I want to be able to watch you guys eventually move going, guy's pretty good. I don't need to go watch him wrestle. Okay, I probably do, but I can tell you pretty quickly, I bet you're pretty good if you look good. Okay, so Albert's going to move in a circle here. He's been sitting in the stance for about 2 minutes. Okay, and he's going to keep his feet a little bit wider and shoulder width apart. Circle, go. Big circles, big circles, big circles. Now, do we do this in a match? Keep going. We don't do this in a match, okay? But we want to make sure, sit there and circle like that in the match. But in the match, in the course of a match, in college wrestling, you wrestle 7 minutes, you'll have to circle. If you're wrestling somebody good that I can't ride, or he can't ride me, and we're spending 6 minutes and 30 seconds on our feet, we'll go through a circle drill at least 5 times a piece in one match. Okay, back and forth here. Now, anytime we're moving forward, okay, we're moving forward as the lead leg, okay, and our feet still stay shoulder width apart. Okay, we don't bring our back foot directly behind. We should go shoulder width apart and we just move forward on it. Okay, go. Moving forward. Hands up, hands up, hands up. Good. Short steps as we move forward. Okay, this is without putting the hands on it. Guys, everything we're doing right now is no hands are on it. No guys grabbing it. Everything changes when that happens. Okay, this is just learning how we move our feet. When we take steps, we look and focus on the steps anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches, no more than that. Okay, learning to pick our feet up. Little drills that we do, sprawl drills, is all I'm going to do is say, or all Albert's going to do is pick his lead leg up. He's not going to sprawl. Ready, go. Pick it all the way back. Heel to your butt. Go. This is how you sprawl. Okay? A lot of times we want to sprawl with the whole body. We want to take the whole body back. Just throw your body back and sprawl. Go. Just throw it back. Throw it back. Okay, no, you're doing it wrong. Throw it back. Lock your knees out. Okay, he's doing it right. He doesn't know how to do it wrong. It's good. A lot of times we'll lock our knees out. We'll lock our knees out. We'll throw ourselves up. Okay? Good guys that sprawl well, all they do is pick their feet up. And their body does the rest. Okay? So all Albert's going to do is pick his foot up when he sprawls. Right there. Now sprawl, go. Okay? Learning to pick your feet up. It's the same way with penetration. If Albert's going to post high crotch, okay, he's going to pick his foot up to penetrate. Okay? So the better we get at picking our feet up, the better we get offensively and defensively. And those are easy drills. Let me share some with you. That takes a lot of hours, fellas. A lot of hours. Okay? Come back out. So you can tie this all together, square stance, moving in a circle, moving forward, straw, and circle. Back up, circle, circle, square stance, forward, straw. Again, circle, moving forward, straw, circle, moving forward, post high crotch, straw, circle, forward, straw, circle, moving forward, high crotch, double. Keep going. Working tonight out there. Notice I didn't suit up. Okay. So, fellas, this is one of many little skills. There's a lot of good coaches out there that got a lot of different skills of moving your feet. Okay. One drill that we did, I did when I was in junior high, and I did it all the way till I retired. Back up off the circle. One of the most demanding drills I ever did was I straddled the line here, and all I really planted it forward. What are we doing when we pick it up, plant it forward? What are we doing? More than likely we're on the offense. Okay, we're posted. Okay, once I pick the foot up and I step it back, I'm sprawling. Okay, and all we're doing is picking our feet up. But what I want out of Albert, okay, is to stay in that big stance, and he's done this, and staying with those feet a little bit wider than shoulder. I don't want him to break down. I don't want his position to break down. Okay? Get up, go. Quick, quick. Right down, look forward. Keep going, brother. Good, good. Now Albert, about 18 months ago, he probably went around this mat 10 times. Okay? Now with the drill, you can do this. If you're in better shape and you're holding better position, you just follow the guy and you pull his head. About every 10 steps. Go. Keep it up. Water. It's a demanding drill. You find out condition-wise what it feels like. Okay. Most of those little drills that we've covered here shortly have been free of any pressure on us. What's pressure meaning? Is when somebody grabs a hold of us. What do we do? Okay. One of the biggest problems that I have when I get kids is when somebody grabs us, okay, we go over the top, we extend rather than fighting back inside, keeping our hands close to our face. Notice is this, guys that are really good with setups and position, they always have their hands close to their face. Okay? The elbow control, the inside control, your hands are always close. Okay? Right here. They're always here. They're never reaching. They're never getting their hands away from their body. Okay? Post high crotches, elbow control, high crotches, inside control, swing singles, high crotches. Okay? Passing elbows. Hands are always right in here, in position, bent arms. They're not getting their arms away from their body. So what you need to remember is this, reinforcing how important your feet is that you need just to learn how to move first, because once somebody touches us, the whole game changes. Okay? And you need to first develop that strength and endurance and just being able to hold position first before you really get trying to jump and learn too much too quick. Okay? So I want you guys to know that I've taken 4-time state champions or 2-time state champ, you know, the outstanding wrestler in the state, and I've had to break this down and cover this with them so they could win a few matches for us as freshmen. Okay, and hoping that they would develop through their career and eventually be All-Americans and national champions. So don't underestimate anything you can get on foot movement, on skills on your feet, on sprawls. Make sure that you watch it. And you guys have so many opportunities with as many videos out there in wrestling that there's a lot of great people to learn from. Not just me, trust me. There's a lot of great people that can teach some great skills. But I will reinforce this: until you get better on your feet, okay, it's going to be tough to get where you want. Okay, and it's not. I got a lot of guys that can go out and run 5 miles and can't come in and do 25 minutes of stance and motion position. Okay, and if you ask them which one they'd rather do, okay, there's no question. It's easy answer. They'd rather go run 5 miles. Okay, wrestling's demanding. You talk to those MMA guys, and I have. Okay, the other sport is standing straight up. Here. Okay, I can bounce around right here, and I'm 47 years old. I can bounce around here for 2 hours. Okay, we'll be fine. Okay, but as soon as I break down the stance, I got about 3 minutes in it. Okay, big difference. So you need to understand that it's demanding, and you gotta meet that demand if you ever want to take that next step up and really start to improve your wrestling. Okay, and I haven't even showed you a skill, a high crotch, a single leg. Okay, and I got a real easy theory as far as with young kids. Okay, I would teach this before I'd teach anything. We would develop this. We would develop the strengths in our legs at whatever level I'm at. Okay, and then we take it from there. Okay, give me a kid that spent from the time he was 7 till 11 learning how to move his feet, learning how to pick his feet up, learning how to sprawl. Okay, that's that. When he hits 11, it's going to be easy for me to coach him. Okay, real easy. Okay, but that whole 4 years or 5 years where he was developing, that is all the work and the energy that needs to be put in coaching. Correct people, watching the positioning. Are we keeping our elbows back on our drills and this and that? You know, so I just see there's a big difference in the way we coach here, and we're kind of spread out. And in the United States, we're spread out, and we teach a lot of different things, and a lot of different skill, and a lot of different theories. And you know, countries like Iran or Russia or Ukraine, you know, very young ages, they're teaching position. You know, and they have less wrestlers than us. Okay, doesn't mean they're better than us. Okay, just means they're a little smarter than us. And we're teaching way too much skill and not teaching enough position. Okay, and I'll tell you this: that we just finished the NCAA championships and. Made a good run at winning it this year. Came up with short. And on Saturday, we won 9 of 11 matches. And on Saturday is a day that the only people that are wrestling is All-Americans. That's it. Friday night rounds determines who's going to be wrestling for the top 8 places on Saturday, or whose tournament just ended and they get a participation medal. Okay? Well, going 9 of 11 on Saturday, going back and reviewing that over the last 3 weeks, we won on position. We won on stamina on our feet, being able to hold good, solid position, being able to bend a couple key shots that made the difference in us, turning that into a real team race for us, you know, trying to hold on to second with maybe maybe Minnesota trying to catch us. But you don't win 9 out of 11 matches without position on your feet. It came down to takedown. It came down to, a couple matches came down to good hard rides, but the majority of it came down to wrestling on your feet. And I can only think of one other time in my career that we had that kind of a round. Give ourselves a chance to win. You win 9 out of 11 matches on Saturday, you're going to win national championships probably 98 out of 100 times. This just happened to be 1% we did, but it just reinforces as a coach that even at my level, and I'm dealing with some of the best athletes in the country, that's what it comes down to. And the quicker that you help young people develop that, the quicker you're going to find that you're going to have greater success. So, put time into it. Put time into it, and you'll find that it's hard. You'll find that people will piss and moan about it because it is hard. But you got to be determined as a coach for your coaches to make sure you instill part of your practices on a daily basis that reinforces position on your feet. Don't get too gung-ho about teaching double legs, single legs, high crotches. Don't get me wrong. You got to put some of that in there. There ain't no question. But if you don't have good position on your feet, if Albert came out and he's wrestling me, okay, he doesn't have good position, he ain't gonna score anyway. He could have shot 50 double legs in practice, 100 single legs, but if he can't move his feet, there ain't no way he's scoring on me. Okay, well, he wouldn't score anyway. Okay, so, Albert actually had great movement to take just about anybody down, okay, with a double leg. It came off his great movement and his position on his feet. Okay, so put your time into it, making sure that you reinforce it. Remember, it takes a little bit of a journey to really get where you want. Okay. Remember, I told you 6 straight years. I spent 20 minutes a day on this. 6 straight years. Okay? And I can't tell you the number of minutes I put in, through my youth and high school days and college days. Okay. Any questions? The thing, a lot of guys do, and it just helps them kind of find their fluency on their feet, is it's okay to stand up and do boxing drills. I do like them, and we do a lot of them. Just Albert standing up and he's just shadow boxing, just learning to move his feet away, just shadow boxing. Jabs, throw some jabs. A lot of it's the same principle when you're moving your feet. You're really not moving your feet any more than about 2 to 4 inches. Okay? And going back and forth, shuffling back and forth. Okay, but always tie it back in my stance. So breaking down in your stance, kind of loosen your legs up and moving. Doing the same thing, but we're doing it with bent knees. And kind of finding that fluency on your feet, feel of what you want. Okay? Any questions? Gotta have some questions.
John, you do anything else with your, you just talk about what
we do a lot of body lifts, things like that with individual. We stack them up on our shoulders. Do a lot of carries, squats, of course, in the weight room. But as far as drills and techniques, not really. I mean, just do a lot of these circle drills here. You guys, I mean, that circle drill that he did, that's demanding. It's real demanding. I mean, it's as tough as it gets. And, Albert to go around 3 times, is demanding on your body. So, you can do a lot of, if you don't have a weight room or you don't have access to a weight room, you need to do a lot of body lifts. was about the Olympic wrestling. I'm on a committee called CPAL. It's a committee Reserve Olympic Wrestling. We're in a good place right now. You know, it was a big surprise for all of us. I'm not going to get into the details of it too much. I will say that it was a criminal act from the IOC, unjustified, and I better be just careful. We got cameras on me. It wasn't justified. There was no merit to it. It came down to my mind, royalty that was on this committee, and that was basically it. And in the end, the world cried out. They heard us, and it doesn't mean anything. It just means that we're in a better place since that news came out. On May the 18th, there's going to be a vote in St. Petersburg that will move 3 sports to a final vote in September. We need to make sure we're moved forward. I'd be devastated if we wasn't. I do believe in the end we can win this. Okay? There's the month of May is Wrestling Awareness Month throughout the world, not just the nation. There's going to be things going on throughout the world in the month of May. The Iranians are coming to New York City, wrestle a dual meet with the United States. And the Russians got to get worldwide coverage. We see many states doing resolutions in their House and Senate in support of wrestling. We've seen a lot of things happen since the news came out that has put wrestling in the public's eye like it's never been. Everybody hear what I just said? Wrestling's in the public's eye like it's never been. So this thing could end up being one of the greatest things for our sports that's ever happened. You don't get this type of publicity worldwide. I did a video immediately following the news that came down from the IOC that was covered by 186 different countries. You know, I couldn't do an interview that was covered by 186 different countries. So why is that? It's because there is people that respects wrestling, thinks that wrestling should always remain in the Olympics, but you've got to justify yourself. Just because you're in a sport, or just because your sport was in the original Olympics, doesn't mean you should be in it now, okay? But what we need to make sure, and as you get into your state, you're going to have things going on in the month of May that's going to be wrestling awareness that you need to participate in. In the state of Oklahoma, we're meeting at the state capitol on May the 8th. We plan on having close to 25,000 people there. Okay? And people need to be educated about wrestling and where wrestling stands in the world. Okay? And as far as just giving you a quick education on it, as far as in the Olympics, we're probably one of the most diversified sports in the Olympics. We got more countries that participate in wrestling. It's one of the top 3 sports as far as the number of countries that participate. Okay. As far as the number of athletes, it's one of the hardest medals to earn in all the Olympics. For the number of medals that are presented in wrestling compared to the number of athletes, it's one of the hardest medals to win. Okay? There's far more athletes than there is medals. In a lot of sports, it's just the opposite. So those are the strengths that wrestling has. And we're not just saying you should leave us in because we were original sport. You should leave us in because we're one of your top sports. And the criteria of what the IOC is looking for, we're one of your top sports. And they know it. They know it. I do believe that they, again, I got to be careful here. I'm on camera. I got to be careful. in a good place, and make sure that whatever happens within your state is going to do wrestling awareness, that we're in the eye of the public. Things that are going to come out in May are going to go all over the country. Okay? Articles that are written every day right now in the sport of wrestling on the IOC's decision to drop wrestling is phenomenal. Every day I see a chart of articles anywhere from 50 to 200 articles a day that are written right here in the United States. Okay? And this is our chance as a sport to really create awareness, the health of our sport, what it does for young student athletes, how it develops them, how it develops their character, everything in wrestling that we do is survival skills for when we're done, adversity, endurance, condition, learning how to eat, learning how to, deal with winning and losing. I mean, it's just everything that life skills gives us comes through our sport, and we just need to be reminded that we share that with the world and the public in the United States to continue to create great awareness of our sport, because we'll never have a time again like this. Okay? Ever. Eyes are on us. What does that mean to us as student athletes and students in school? We expect you to be on best behavior. We expect you to be the best student athletes on your campus, in your school. Okay? We expect you. I expect you as a wrestler, and you can ask my wrestlers, I expect them to be the best student athletes on their campus. Both academically. Now, I'm not saying you got to make straight A's. I'm saying that we go to class, we get up and go to class, we make sure that we're behaving, we make sure that we're promoting our sport, we make sure that we're not being bullies and punks on the street, we make sure we're dressed well, we make sure that everything that we do is representing our school and our colors. And I expect the same from you. I don't want anybody to badmouth wrestling because some guy is being a punk. That you don't behave yourself, that you don't go to class and you don't work in there, and you don't study hard, and you don't do the things that you're supposed to be doing. It's easy for them to go, oh, he's a wrestler. Don't give people that chance. And those are the things that we need to be focused on as coaches, making sure we remind our youth programs, our junior high programs, what do you expect of that student athlete off the mat when he's not in the practice? That's what a coach does. He builds people off, he builds their character up, he builds their morals and their ethics up. That's what a good coach does. Not just about winning and losing right here in the center of this mat. It's about what are we doing for these student athletes outside the mat. What is expected from them? And if you don't give them those expectations, and you don't hold them accountable to them, okay, then you got problems. So I look at this decision from the IOC as maybe we didn't do some of that. Maybe we didn't cross our T's and dot our I's when we need to be doing that off the mat. Okay, now, I think a lot of it was leadership. The reason why we're in this situation was the leadership. It's the people that were leading the world of wrestling and our Olympic movement was poor leaders. Bottom line. If I was leading it, this wouldn't happen. I can promise you that. Why? Because I would have made sure that I didn't assume that we were okay. You always assume that we're not okay. And then you're going to be busting your butt doing the right things. Whenever we start feeling a little bit comfortable, it seems like always we go the wrong way. Right? Same way in wrestling. As soon as I start feeling like I can beat anybody, I get beat. So as coaches in here and as fathers, others, whatever, we gotta recognize that we gotta lead. We gotta be leaders. We gotta give those expectations, require them, and then follow through with them. So it's a great time for wrestling. I'll just say that. You know, when that verdict came out, it was like the world came crashing down. And then as the days passed, I realized this is a great opportunity. This is great, and I'm going to tell you, that's the way we're utilizing it. That's the way the committee's utilizing it. That's the way the world's utilizing it. We've had presidents over, I think it was 26 as of yesterday, 26 presidents of their countries that come out and spoke out against this movement of dropping wrestling in the Olympics. 26 of them. You know, so that's pretty powerful. It goes all the way to the top. And just make sure that in the month of May, wrestling awareness, we do what we can. I'm sure in the state of Missouri that they have a plan of what they're doing. I'm sure in the state of Kansas, they've got a plan. Make sure you find out that plan. Go to the website. Wherever they're doing to make awareness of wrestling, you need to participate. Okay? Because we're not just doing this for wrestling to get put back in the Olympics. That is the main goal. But all the goals underneath is to continue to help wrestling's awareness throughout our country. Okay? And why do we want to do that? Well, because I think there's going to come a time when wrestling has an opportunity to be picked up in colleges, more colleges across this country. Okay? When you look at the participation of wrestling in several states, okay, and you look at some of the universities and what sports they have in male sports, female sports, and you see that your state has more wrestlers than several of those sports in high school and junior high, well, that gives a merit, a lot of merit. Why are we not serving our athletes in our state? And we're seeing those numbers start to increase, especially in youth and junior high and high school. And just make sure you remind yourself that this is a bigger thing than just us getting wrestling. It's awareness. Let's put it in. We got an opportunity to be seen. We need to make sure we utilize it. How many of you guys know if something's going on in your state in May? It's Worldwide Wrestling Awareness Month, the whole month. Okay? And you're going to see things. You'll see things on ESPN. You'll see things on NBC. You'll see things on Fox News. You're going to see a lot of wrestling in the news in the month of May. Just make sure your state is participating. Any other questions? The question was, it looks like we got a good young team, and we have a shot at taking Penn State out next year. Whatever your team looks like, and you know as well, whatever your team looks like now can change a year from now in March. And yeah, we got a good young team. Yeah, I can see my team challenging for national championship honors next year. Okay, but it's what you do right now that's going to determine what happens in March. And I don't mean training-wise, but your planning-wise. What's going to happen here? Okay, what are we going to be doing this summer? Is everybody going to be participating in the goal of winning a championship? You know, how many guys have we known that's wrestling in college and was third in the NCAA championships and the next year didn't place? Right? Tons of them. You know, well, you don't beat a team that's tough as that. So, as a coach, you need to make sure right now that that kid doesn't go from third to nothing, but goes from third to first. And that's work. It's commitment. It's keeping our passion alive, keeping it driven. So that's what we need to do. And if we do that, we will have an opportunity to win. Okay? Yeah. We need to just make sure that basketball, so you're not competing with that. You're moving forward and trying to win. So I'll close with this. As some of you young guys, and I'm going to close with my comments towards the wrestlers out there. Okay. Keep in mind this, that if you have high expectations and one day you want to try to move on to college, have that opportunity. I think that for a lot of you young guys, I do believe there'll be more opportunities for you. We've added over 200 and I think 268 programs over the last 12 years. We've lost some, but not nearly that. We're adding programs all over. The state of Oklahoma's added 2. You know, there's programs being added. Why? Because there's merit to add them. States are looking at the numbers of participants. Now, a lot of those numbers, a lot of those places that they've added in junior colleges, NAIA, Division II, Division I's about the only one that has struggled, but the other divisions have increased. And I think Division I, eventually we're going to see an increase. Okay? But keep in mind this, if you're not a student athlete, that is an impossible dream for you. Okay? Once you hit 9th grade, okay, the requirements, they're still creeping up. You need to understand what it takes to get in college. Okay? You need to understand that what's required of you to be a student athlete. When I look at student athletes across the country, first thing I want to see is their high school transcript. Okay? Because I won't go any further than that. I can look at that and I can determine real quickly if this is an athlete I want. And you just need to understand that you want to be looked at and you want to have an opportunity to move forward from high school into college. Okay? I'm going to tell you that your transcript and your performance in high school is going to make a big decision on whether that happens or not. Okay? Because there's no room for taking marginal people that have been lazy in high school with our academics and taking them. And I see it over and over again and don't understand, as tough a sport as we have and as hard as we've worked for some of you young guys, why you would even consider letting your academics fall short. Now there's some of you that have to work hard just to make average grades. I know that. But that's not most of you. Some of you. Okay? And I've taken marginal kids, but I've known that those marginal kids were hard workers in their academics. I'll take them every day because they'll do okay in college. They'll make it. They'll get a college education because they're hard workers. But if I take a kid that's not a hard worker towards his academics and I bring him into college, he ain't making it. I can't change him in that short time. You've had 18 years to figure this out. I can't change him. Okay? So it's real important that you guys recognize and appreciate that the sport of wrestling can give you an opportunity to make your life a lot better through your education. And take advantage of that. Okay? And make sure that those of you that have those dreams and goals move in that direction, that you take care of that. Because I will say that I've seen a lot of transcripts that have excited me. And the kid was maybe a one-time state champion, had a pretty good record. I'll tell you, they get on our radar quick. Okay? Quick. It's not always the guy that wins 4 state championships. It's not always the guy that's the Fargo national champion. I'll tell you right now, I had 2 guys on my team that never won a state championship this year. It started for me, and one of them was an All-American. Why? Because he was as solid as they come. On the mat and off the mat, in the classroom, out of the classroom, in every way. That's why he got a shot. And I'll tell you, he had that type of character. So anyway, keep that in mind, fellas. Make sure you take care of your academics. Remember, it's the most important thing in your life. is it'll take you everywhere. You know, you want to wrestle and you want to move forward from it. It starts right there with your schoolwork. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, guys. Thank you. Good luck.
Hope you have a great day tomorrow, and let's give these guys one last